All right, let's go to James. Oh, this looks like an interesting question. In San Diego, California. James, you're on the Ken Coleman Show.
Hi, Ken. How you doing?
I'm living the dream, James. What's going on?
Oh, same here. So long story short, about 40, mid-40s, 41 years old, and keep getting into careers where I get to the point where it's like your own level of incompetency and I can't move any further. And it creates a lot of stress. And so basically, long story short, I was in the tech industry for about 15 years, went back, got my master's degree in education, and I feel like I made a huge mistake because I hate it because of the level of detail and how sort of detail-oriented it is.
Oh.
So trying to figure out, what career to go into that's not as, anti-ADD as I am, and find something as a good career switch that, maybe more working with my hands or something like that.
There we go. Now we got some really good clues. So you've got talent in the area of the tech space because of the way your brain works, I'm guessing. I'm guessing you're a problem solver, pretty good problem solver?
I can be okay. Problem is, though, too, it's one of those careers that, out of college, I just sort of fell into.
No, I'm not. No. Hey. I'm in charge of the show. It's the Ken Coleman Show, not the James Show. So you're going down the wrong path here. I want to know, are you a good problem solver?
I like to think so.
What kind of problems are you good at solving?
I don't know.
Yeah, that's not true. What kind of problems are you good at solving? You know this. You've got a track record. How old are you, James?
How old? 42.
You're 42. My goodness.
42.
What kind of problems are you good at solving? Let me give you
problem.
There we go. Now we're opening James up. You're not thinking anymore. Stop thinking, James, and start feeling your answers. You feel me?
Yep.
All right. You're good at solving people problems. What kind of people problems? Be specific.
If I had to say, I would say
you do.
Conflict resolution, I'm pretty good at.
Conflict resolution. Interesting. Okay. And how do you know you're good at that? And I'm not asking you to bring James's head back into the equation and doubt. Mm-hmm. I want you to answer that from your heart with confidence. How do you know you're good at conflict resolution? What's the evidence in your life?
Aside from work, it's everybody, all my friends and family, I'm always the one that they go to for, any sort of interpersonal advice.
Interesting. And I want you to, in your mind, James, right now, I want you to pull up the last time you were in an advisor type role, okay? With friends or family, you were taking on the role of advisor, counselor. You got that picture in your mind?
I do.
How'd it turn out?
Well.
Huh?
I mean, it usually turns out well.
I know, but how did it turn out? That you gave them
advice?
It turned
out well.
And they looked at you, and what'd they say to you when you were done dispensing this advice?
Well, there's always a little bit of hesitancy, but at the end, they are always thankful.
They're very thankful. And they walked away thankful because you helped them, yes?
Correct.
All right, now here's the $1 million question. How'd you feel in those moments, days, whatever, afterwards?
Of course, I felt good.
Yeah. So now that we've gone down this path, James, and I think I've got your brain turned off, and I think I got your heart totally firing, what would you do tomorrow, James, if you knew your ADHD wasn't going to limit you? That's an excuse. I have ADHD, big freaking deal. And you knew you couldn't fail. You'd love it. You knew you couldn't fail. And it would just set your heart on fire every day. What would you do if you knew that those two things were true? What would you do? What would you try?
And I thought about that, and I don't know because,
that's not
like
true.
You mentioned,
that's not true.
Well, I think my brain gets in the way.
I know. So what I'm saying is, I'm going to ask this question one more time. This is not the first time I've done this, James, and it only works if you tell the truth. So I'm going to say it again. And when I asked you a moment ago, I promise you, James, you had some ideas that just kind of went up on your brain, the top of your brain, just like a big giant screen in Times Square. Might have been 2 ideas, might have been 3. I'm going to ask it again, and this time I want you to blurt it out and let me figure out if it's legit or not. Do you agree to do this, James?
I agree.
All right, here we go. James, what would you do tomorrow if you knew you could not fail? If you knew that you would love it and you didn't even have to commit the rest of your life to it. It'd be a big, fun adventure. James, tell us what just flashed in your head while I was saying that.
I would do something outdoors as far as like starting my own business, because I don't like following other people's rules.
All right. And so you'd probably work with your hands too, correct?
Correct.
Because that's what you said earlier. So I don't know where this advice thing is coming in, because you took me down a path on how you love giving advice. So I'm a little surprised by your answer. Not completely, because you did mention that you love working with your hands. And your whole question was, Ken, how do I figure out what I'm supposed to do? What you're supposed to do is use what you do best, your talent. You know this. To perform your passion, that's work you love to do. So you love working with your hands. You also love giving people advice. So I don't know if we don't combine those two. I don't know if we don't take an outdoor kind of work with your hands, entrepreneurial venture where you work for yourself and it has a little bit of instruction, advice in it. Maybe it's a combo. What are your thoughts on that?
No, I mean, it could work. I just need ideas of what to, where to put my energy.
The ideas will take care of themselves when you actually stop doubting yourself. You started this phone call wearing a gigantic, heavy robe of doubt. It was all over you. True or false?
Correct.
Well, that's the problem. That's what I've been trying to shut down. I've been trying to kind of smack you in the face a little bit. I'm on your team. I'm your friend. But you're so full of doubt that you're not listening to your heart, because your brain is just swatting everything your heart filters up to it like flies. It's like you're playing the old video game. Joe, you remember Asteroids, where it was just these blobs that would come down the screen? James, every idea that his heart throws up to him, Joe, he's just blowing it up. And you're laughing in the background, James, because I'm right, aren't I?
Well, because it's true, yeah.
I know it's true. How do I know this about you, James? We just met a few minutes ago.
You probably run into this all the time.
Right. So here's the point. I still think you have some really good ideas about what you want to do, but you don't think you can do it. And if you would just admit that, hey, I have this idea and I got to figure out, do I have the talent to pull it off? Do I love the work enough to stay with it and do it on the side until I build it up? Mm-hmm. Does it create a result, the missional result, my primary mission with work? Does it produce that? I think you actually do have ideas, and I think you're still not willing to share them with me. So here's what I'm willing to do. You need to take this call, and you need to go back and do some homework. You need to get quiet. You need to throw some real ideas out on paper, and then you need to go back and go, do I have the talent to pull this off? Do I have a passion for this kind of work? Do I love this kind of work? And does this work create results that if I knew I was producing that every day, working for myself, I'd feel like I was one of the happiest men in the world? You need to spend some time alone with that. And I'm willing to take a second call with you, but you have got to do this. You have the ideas, and you just got to sit with them. But I'm telling you, brother, if it's an entrepreneurial thing, that's great. But there's something about giving advice that you love. You can't ignore that.
Okay.
And I think you doubt that so much that you actually went with the hands thing and working outside and all that stuff. But I think that if you can find a way to combine those two, working for yourself, working outside, and some type of advice or counsel, then maybe you could. Maybe taking people on hunting trips. Maybe people taking on canoe rides. I don't know. But you focus so much on the advice counselor giving, you will not be happy in your work, James, until you have some of that in your life. Do you understand what I'm saying?
I do.
And I think you're full of doubt, and I think you gave me the easy answer because you're good at working with your hands. You like working outside. I'm calling. I think you're still scared. Play with this a little bit more. Amanda, let's set him up. I'm willing to take another call with him 30 days from now, only if he's done his homework on what I just told him to do. You got me, James?
I got you.
All right, brother. All right, folks. I'm feisty today. I'm feeling feisty because here's what I know. Fear, doubt, and pride are the enemies that I'm fighting against. That's why, hey, Nathan, let's give them a shot. There's a reason why I got some boxing gloves on the shelf behind me. That's not just because I'm a boxing fan and because I loved Sugar Ray Leonard growing up, because that's who signed those gloves, in case anybody cares. All the middle-aged people know who Sugar Ray Leonard is. Everybody like in their 30s is like, Sugar who? They think he's like, Sugar Ray is like, they think it's a band or whatever, whoever that guy is. Mark McGrath or whoever that clown is. Sugar Ray. See, Madison, my producer, didn't even know. That's how young she is. She's fabulous, but I'm so much older, it's ridiculous. But the reason those boxing gloves are on the shelf behind me, and we talked about this. You remember Joe and Madison? We talked about this from day one. I said, I want those boxing gloves on there because I want it to remind me when I walk in the door over here to my left every day, and my eyes immediately go to that shelf. And those boxing gloves are to remind me that I'm in a fight. I'm in a fight against fear and doubt and pride. Personally, as I seek to fulfill my purpose, and also for you. I'm fired up more than ever. So call me. I'll take your fear. I'll expose it, and I'm going to punch it and beat it up so that you can be who you were created to be.